You're already way further ahead along your journey than you could possibly imagine. But the reason you cut yourself short and you don't acknowledge this truth, you don't even see it for what it really is simply because your brain doesn't allow you. You see, sometimes we like to think that we've got it all figured out, that we know almost everything about our lives, about life, about existence, about who we truly are or why we're even here. But it's only when things get really messed up, it's only when we are going through tough and dark times that we realize that we don't really know that much. That we're all barely are just trying to make it through using paradigms created by our limited brains, created by our limited egos. No matter how much we think that we broke through those limited paradigms, that we broke through those limiting paradigms, and we expanded our consciousness to go beyond our brains, to go beyond our egos, we yet remain influenced to a great extent by our brains. And it's also at that point in which I realized that simply because I think, I envision my awakening, my journey, my path to my purpose, my path to freedom, to have a specific image, to be in a specific way, to go by in a specific way, that doesn't necessarily make it the truth. And the problem with living according to self-limiting paradigms created by the brain, created by the survival ego, is that the brain doesn't like to imagine, doesn't like to envision what's unfamiliar to it. And what that means is that you're going to remain in that familiar cycle, you're going to remain in that known paradigm. No matter how much you try to climb up the ladder, no matter how much you try to break through, you're still going to be functioning within a program that you've set upon yourself, that you've imposed upon yourself. And what I mean by the thing that the brain doesn't like to imagine what it doesn't know, what's unfamiliar to it, is, for example, if you have set a specific vision for yourself, if you set a specific journey for yourself and you're trying to pursue it, you're trying to think about it, you're trying to create it in order for your brain to catch up with that mindset, in order for you to live through that mindset and eventually be able to manifest it in this 3D reality, in order for you to get there energetically and mentally before you're able to actually get there physically. What happens is that your brain likes to think about the end results. It only sees the end results according to what you've envisioned. And I don't necessarily mean that if you're poor you won't be able to imagine yourself being rich, or if you were conditioned to conditional love you won't be able to imagine unconditional love. But that's also exactly what I mean, because the only thing you're imagining is your version of what you think being rich is, of what you think being loved is, of what you think a loving relationship looks like. But that also doesn't necessarily make it the truth. And what happens here is that by you experiencing, by you imagining the end results, by your brain, through your brain getting all fixed up on this end result, is that anything else that happens is negligible. Anything else that happens is overlooked. And what that causes is for you to feel as if you are stuck, and that simultaneously keeps you stuck. What that causes is that while your brain all worked up, all focused on that end result, on that outcome, exactly how you imagined it, it does not realize that all of those small steps is leading you there. And that keeps you in that lack mentality, that keeps you thinking that you're not progressing whatsoever. And perhaps you started a year ago on this journey, and now a year later you're still thinking you're at the same place, you're at the same point, you're not progressing. just because you've not yet reached the end result. But there's so much more to you than the end result. There's so much more to your journey than that end point. It's all just because your brain is thinking about the outcome, is thinking about the finishing line, about the finish line, is why you can't see how much you've progressed, how much further along your journey you've come. And the problem is, like I said, this keeps you in lack. This keeps you in resistance to your path, because as long as you think that you're not progressing, as long as you're not seeing any real progress from your point of view, from the brain's point of view, you're going to keep resisting this journey. You're going to keep despising and hating this journey that you've chosen for yourself, that you envisioned for yourself. And that's when your self-sabotage scheme begins. And that's how the brain paradigm keeps you stuck in an everlasting loop of what's familiar. That's how the survival ego keeps you stuck in this familiar zone, because it doesn't know what comes at that point. You like to imagine it. It likes to imagine it. It likes to imagine it from the survival point of view, from the point of view of your programming. So no matter how much you try to envision it, no matter how much you try to imagine it as this joyful life, peaceful life, loving life, abundant life, it's all based on the perspective of your programming. So where are you coming from? That's where your brain is trying to lead you back to. That's where your ego is trying to take you back to. You're going to go through all of this journey and all of those struggles and all of those bits and pieces thinking it does not serve your purpose, it does not serve your end point, while it's all leading you there gradually. In order for you to change your life fundamentally, to shift your reality, there's so many things that you need to shift about your life. There are so many small details that you need to change in order for you to match up with that reality, in order for you to catch up with that reality. And it's in those struggles, all of those struggles, all of those dark times, all of those tough times that we learn best, that we learn to let go, that we learn to adopt the new and let go of the old. And if you cannot see this, if you refuse to see this as part of your journey, then you'll always keep resisting and rejecting that journey. You'll always, in other words, keep resisting and rejecting the end point that you're so deeply seeking or desiring. And this is how the brain keeps you stuck in this everlasting familiar loop. The point here, the key point is, whenever you are on this journey, whenever you set up a journey for yourself, whenever you envision a very different future from your past or from your current reality, what you need to do is to trust the process, is to understand that you're way more than just the physical, is that you're way more than just your ego or the brain. When you really get this deep into your essence, when you really understand this reality, this truth, you'll be able to let go of your obsession with the end result. You won't be very attached to the end point. And when you're detached from the outcome, when you're detached from external circumstances, that's when your higher self is able to work magic through you. That's when your ego is silenced. That's when your ego sleeps, nods off for a little bit, and allows space for your higher self, for your source, for your truth to come in, to awaken from within you, and to receive the intuition, to receive your calling, to receive your next step through this awakening, through this trusting, through this letting go. But when you're all stuck on how things should go, on what should happen, on how things should unfold, on how that thing should have happened but it did not go according to your plan, and now you're stuck on that thing, and you're thinking that your plan is not working, you're thinking that you're not progressing on your journey, then you're only feeding the paradigm of the ego. You're only feeding onto your own self-blockages, onto your own limitations, because the ego wants you to remain in that familiar survival zone. Sure, it envisioned a future in which survival seemed very fit, the very abundant lifestyle, perhaps the very loving relationship, the very peaceful life, the very stable or safe life. But it does not know what's along the path. It does not care about what's along the path. Sure, if you're going to get me there at in the blink of an eye, I'm willing to, but otherwise that's not our agreement, and I'm going to reject and resist it. So for you to cut yourself short just because you think that things are not going your way, you think that your journey is not leading you to your end point, it's not leading you to where you're meant to go, or it's not working according to your intuition or what you felt called to, doesn't necessarily make it the truth. So trust in the journey, trust in all of those boring details, and know that in those details, in this everyday routine, boring details, is where you find your true self, is where you learn about yourself more than anything else. My last video was about how finding your true self is simpler than you think, because it's more often than not in the things that you don't think is related to finding your true self, is related to embracing your true self, than it's more in those things than it is in the things that you think are related, those grandiose visions, those grandiose perspectives. Finding your true self, finding your enlightenment, awakening, is more in how you interact daily, how you react to this thing, how you feel about someone cutting you in line, how do you react to your alarm, how do you react to someone walking down in the street, how do you react to something you don't like in the street, and that's how you learn more and more about yourself, and that's how you grow, and that's how you evolve, that's how you shift your reality. Things were not created in one day. We have to let go of the need, of the desire, of the belief that ascension is instant, that your shift is instant. Nothing is instantaneous. It's all part of a journey. Your progress has been happening since your birth. Your ascension started since your birth. Your awakening started since your birth. Perhaps they were intensified at several stages. At your first awakening, intellectual awakening, or your first dark night of the soul, or when you first had your spiritual awakening, they got intensified. But they've been an ever-changing journey, an everlasting journey. Just like everything is happening on the whole timeline, why do you expect things to shift from point A to point Z in the blink of an eye? Now, this is something you could delve deeper into. I'm not saying that this is impossible also, by the way, because I want to say it's possible. And that's something that is up for you to dig deeper into later in your future. Later, when you have shifted, when you experienced a fundamental shift in your external reality once and twice, and then you're able to master those shifts, having instant shifts, having instant changes in your life, manifesting something in a matter of days. But as long as you are on your initial journey, as long as you are trying to fundamentally create your first big external change, perhaps you've been already on your internal journey for so long, and now you're trying to imprint this on your external reality. And that's where things, in order for you to match, in order for your external reality to catch up with your internal reality, You need to go through several lessons. You need to prove that you are, in fact, in accordance with this alignment. That this is now your true reality. And that you're no longer defined by your past, that you're no longer defined by your traumas, that you're no longer defined by your suffering, and you rather see them as part of your journey, as an integral part of your awakening, as an integral part of your bliss, of your peace, of your joy, of your love, of your abundance. And then once you master this, once you get the hang of it, not master it, then you could start digging deeper into how to go fast about it, how to experience, you get the privilege of experiencing it from different perspectives, at different timelines, at different point of views, from different paradigms even, and different philosophies, to approach it in such a manner. But for now, be calm through your journey. Understand that those struggles, that this suffering, that a dark night of the soul is there to serve you, is there to awaken you, is there to unburden you from your past, and in order for you to become lighter and match the frequency of your future, match the frequency of the future you seek, of your vision for the future. It's there as a teacher. Sometimes it's harsh, sometimes the lessons are harsh just simply because we learn better through dark times. We are willing to learn more when things are tough because we want things to end. But it's better for you to start through love, to start before times get tough, before times get hard, before times get dark. Trust and let go of your attachment to that specific image. Let go of your attachment to that specific future, of that specific outcome, and flow with the process. Understand that it's more about the journey than it is about the end result. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video by AF's Conscious Frequency. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, because it helps me so much, and it helps this video find its way to many more others who might actually need it.